Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is the Lollipop and this is the 2024 Troxus TXC electric mountain bike. And today I'm really excited because surprisingly this is the first actual electric mountain bike that I've ever reviewed on my channel. So huge thank you to Troxus for sending this one out to me. Now I reviewed tons of e-bikes on the channel, but they've all kind of been fat tire electric bikes or hybrid bikes or motorcycle style e-bikes. But this is an actual mountain bike that comes with a mid-drive motor for better weight distribution, a dropper post like any good mountain bike should have, hydraulic disc brakes, wide handlebars, mountain tires with aggressive traction, and the new Shimano Q's 1x11 drivetrain, which is perfect for mountain biking. So this bike packs a lot of great features, but in this video we're going to figure out if it's worth the price point. And full disclosure, Troxus did send me this e-bike for a review video on my channel, but they did not restrict my content in any way, so all of these thoughts will still be my genuine thoughts and feelings about the bike. So with that said, in this video we're going to go over the unboxing and assembly process, then go over all of the main specifications on this bike and what I like and what I don't like about them, and then finally take it out on the trail so I can give you my overall thoughts and review of the bike. Okay, let's get into this by going over the unboxing and assembly. Before removing the bike, you'll take out some smaller boxes that have some accessories and tools and the battery charger. I like how they provided bike grease for the pedals so they don't seize up over time, and everything went pretty smoothly. I did not have to adjust too many of the components here, but I did take my time to make sure everything was exactly right to my specifications, and that's most noticeable on the handlebar. They did actually set this bike up in the images a bit different than how I have it now, but you can always unscrew these parts and move them around to what feels better for your hands. The drivetrain did require some adjustments, I will say, but nothing too crazy. And one final thing I'll mention is that the bike did ship with the throttles separately, so you have the option to leave it off. But if you do want to throw it on, you just have to connect it to this wire that is currently kind of plugged up on the side of the bike inside of this hole. You can use some sort of tool to pull it out and connect the wires, and then you can slide the throttle onto the handlebar. I put mine on the right side since I prefer it there, since it gives me some more space, but that location is totally up to you. Now before going any further, I want to mention that the retail price of this bike is currently $3,100 US. So for that money, let's see what you get. For the battery and motor, this bike comes with a 48 volt 15 amp hour removable battery that's located underneath the down tube of the bike here, and the bike comes with these keys that let you lock and unlock this battery and remove it for some easy charging off of the bike if you prefer. But you can also plug in the charger to the side of the bike right here if that's more convenient for you. This battery is paired to the 500 watt Bafang M560 motor with a max torque of 130 Newton meters, and this is mounted right here in the bottom middle of the bike, so great for weight distribution as opposed to the rear mounted motors that tend to make the bike back heavy. But pretty good specs for this battery and motor combo, and that allows this bike to reach a maximum speed of 20 to 23 miles per hour using the throttle and 28 miles per hour on pedal assist, so definitely plenty of speed there. And Troxus claims a max range of 60 miles, which is great for mountain biking, though this value is likely tested on eco mode to conserve the battery. And regarding the power and acceleration of this bike, it's more of a gradual acceleration than an instant torque launch or something like that, which is good for mountain biking since you don't want the bike to shoot you forward, so that's nice for safety and comfort on the trail. However, it's still a pretty good acceleration there. For the display screen, you turn it on by holding the power button on the left controller here. You get a nice little opening sequence, and then you can see your battery life on the top right, current speed on the middle right, pedal assist level on the middle left, and a few different info options to choose from on the bottom, like trip info, watts used, average speed, etc. And I think this display is really nice. It's small and simple, but looks great with the colors, and you have 5 pedal assist modes to choose from, including Eco, Tour, Sport, Sport Plus, and Boost. And you can cycle through these by clicking the up and down arrow keys on the left controller. Also on the handlebar you have the throttle, which you can just push down to accelerate the bike if you don't want to pedal. So that's a fun feature to have, but be careful since sometimes throttles are not allowed on certain bike paths and trails. Okay, but for the frame and overall design, this bike is made from aluminum. Mine is in a size medium or 17 inches, so it fits riders from 5 feet 5 inches tall up to 5 feet 10 inches, and on my scale it weighs about 62 pounds, which isn't too bad. The bike has a fairly nice design overall, nothing to complain about here. I do like it in this burnt orange color. It also comes in a gray-black color, but for features it's got a kickstand on the back here, which is always handy. You have some mounts for a rear rack on the back, as well as front and rear fenders if you do want to add those. And you have internal cable routing, which looks pretty sleek and protects the cables, and a tapered head tube in the front so you can add stronger and higher end suspension forks to this thing if you do want to upgrade. And speaking of suspension, let's talk about the suspension fork next. This is an SR Suntour XCM34, which means it has 34mm wide upper stanchions, which is decent for an electric mountain bike. It has 120mm of suspension travel, which is also decent, and it comes with a through axle on the bottom for some added strength. This fork uses a coil spring and has a lockout on the top, so you can turn this knob and make the fork fully rigid to go faster in flatter areas. Overall, this fork is relatively on the lower end, but it's not bad for the price of this bike. I've seen other big brands spec this on some similarly priced e-bikes, so it's fine to start out with for sure. Next up, we have the wheels. So the rims are actually unbranded as far as I can tell, but they are aluminum rims with a 30mm inner width, which is pretty standard, nothing special. They do feel a bit heavy, to be honest, but it is an e-bike, so that doesn't matter as much here. The tires are good though. These are Kenda booster tires that are 29 inches in diameter and 2.4 inches wide, which is a great size and width for trail bikes. And they have a more cross-country tread pattern that is aggressive enough and works well on the trail. For the brakes, we got Tektro Gemini 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes with brake sensors to cut off the electric assist while braking. And these come with a 180mm diameter rear brake rotor and a 203mm diameter front brake rotor, which is amazing for stopping power, so that's great to see. Honestly, no complaints here. These brakes work well for this bike and do a great job of stopping the bike, so that's awesome. But now let's move on to the drivetrain, which is super nice since it's the brand new Shimano Q's 1x11 drivetrain. So it has 11 speeds and it is rated for e-bikes, so that's great to see. And this one comes with an aluminum Bafang crankset in the front with a 36-tooth chainring to get some added speed in there. And then you have the Shimano chain, which moves us back to the Shimano Q's 11-speed cassette, which works great. This is super durable and brand new for this year and has a nice wide gear range with that 50-tooth mega cog. And then we have the Q's rear derailleur as well, which is low profile, great on rough terrain, and has a clutch mechanism that can be activated to add some more tension on the chain to prevent noise and prevent the chain from falling off of the bike. And finally, we go back up to the handlebar where we have our Shimano Q's shifter. This works great. You can push the shift lever with your thumb or with your index finger to shift to a harder gear, or you can use your thumb to shift to an easier gear and can actually shift up to 2 gears at once to quickly change gears when going uphill. Okay, but for some of these smaller parts, we got an alloy 50mm long Zoom branded stem, which is completely fine for this more cross-country style of bike. We have 760mm wide alloy handlebars with a 25mm rise, and these feel great on the trail. Definitely a nice width for the frame size, and the Velo Sport grips on here feel really nice as well, which is a bit of more personal preference, but I like how grippy these are. We have some metal pedals on here, nothing special, but it's better than the plastic ones we usually see. And then we have the seat and seat post. Pretty simple seat here. It's Troxus branded, which is cool, and it was comfortable enough. I mentioned it creaked a bit during my trail ride, but I actually hadn't tightened the seat enough before the ride, so that's not an actual problem. The dropper post is Zoom branded just like the stem. It's a 30.9mm diameter and has 150mm of travel for the medium frame size, which is awesome. And the dropper lever on the handlebar is nicely made as well and feels pretty good. This dropper works perfectly fine, but my only issue is that even with the seat post all the way down in the frame, like I can't get it further down than this on my medium size. It's just a little bit too tall for me to pedal comfortably. I'm 5'8" in height, and for a bike that's supposed to fit riders down to 5'5", I'd say that's a bit too much dropper travel or just too tall of a post to fit in the frame. I made it work on the trail ride and just got used to not letting the dropper seat come up all the way, so honestly it was fine, but that's something to keep in mind since you may want to upgrade that sooner if you're shorter than 5'8". And want the medium frame. Luckily, they do have a small size frame and a large. The small fits people from 5 feet to 5'5", so that's also an option that I'd suggest if you are shorter. And that's pretty much it for the specifications on this thing. Now let's take it on the trail and give it a review. Alright, riding the Troxus TXC. This is going to be pretty fun, guys. I'm at 100% battery life right now. I reset the trip to see how many miles we get out of this thing. I'm probably not going to ride until it dies because that would take probably a while. So far it feels pretty good. This is the same trail I've ridden numerous bikes on, a lot of my mountain bikes on, including some of the fat tire electric bikes that I've tested on my channel. We're on eco mode right now. Feels pretty simple. It just feels like a heavy bike right now. So eco mode is, you know, gives you a little bit of that assist. In fact, let me turn it off. Yeah, without any eco mode, it's like, woo, I'm pushing this thing pretty hard. So definitely want to have at least the eco mode on. It does help a little bit. And I will say, you know, relative to other e-bikes out there, this one's not that heavy, but just saying it feels that way when you're on no assist or on eco mode. All right, bit of downhill right here. That feels pretty fun. Let's kick it up to Tour. That's definitely better. Tour feels more like I'm riding a normal bike. Oh, this is a fun bike. I think I mentioned the motor feels a little loud when I'm just riding on the road and stuff, but on this trail with all the other noises, it doesn't feel too bad. This is a fun bike though. It feels solid. This drivetrain feels good. Shifts pretty quickly. Like, I'm having more fun with this bike than on the fat tire e-bikes that I rode on this trail. Those ones just felt like way bigger, way more, not necessarily sluggish because they had a lot of good power, but just like heavier, not really designed for this kind of stuff. I was kind of just messing around with those ones, but this was more like a normal mountain bike. All right. You can hear that motor still. I mean, suspension on here, not the highest end thing. SR Sun Tour XEM just has the lockout on there, which I'm not really using on this trail. It's pretty bumpy over here. That's probably one thing I'd want to upgrade sooner than later. Getting up this pretty steep incline now. Still like at like 96% battery after 1.8 miles. I mean, at the end of the day, this is still a hardtail mountain bike. I'm still feeling those bumps. I mean, that's part of the reason why you get a hardtail. I feel like you're kind of feeling the trail a little bit better. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's fun. Yeah, this is my favorite bike. Electric bike that I've ridden on this trail so far, for sure. It's light enough, but feels heavy enough to be a little stable and durable. I'm zooming right now. What are we at, like 18 miles an hour? Yeah, 18. Gotta be careful on these turns. 19 miles. And you know, I haven't really talked about how it does on the road. It's definitely fast on the road. Yeah, but battery life on this bike is definitely good enough to ride a full-on trail. But yeah, let's start getting into my final thoughts. I think I've shown you enough of me bumping around on this thing. But yeah, overall, I think what I'd like to say is that most of the parts on this bike are really good. I think they designed this bike well. You know, I love the width of the handlebars, the grips, the stem is fine. Three main parts I would change on this bike are suspension fork, at least give us an air fork at this price point. Dropper post, make sure either the dropper post have it be able to go in the frame more, or find one that's maybe a little less travel so it fits. And then the seat, yeah, the seat just a less creaky seat, I guess. It might be, once again, an issue with my specific one, but I guess overall the main thing I want to say for this review is that the bike itself is good. The few parts that you might want to upgrade are not going to break the bank. It's nothing too big of a deal. So in that sense, I say the Troxus XC mountain bike is definitely a good electric mountain bike if you are considering getting this model for whatever it may be, the price point, the features, the look of it, styling. I think you'll have a good time with this thing. The only thing I'm thinking about now is that $3,100 price point. I'd personally say that it's a little on the high end for what you get. I mean, you do get a bike that can go up to 28 miles per hour if you want that full-on speed. But you know, there's e-bikes from other reputable brands that cost even less than this one, and you get a similar style bike So in that sense, I have a hard time justifying the retail price. I think under 3,000 would be definitely a better price for this bike. But I will say, as I was editing this video, I noticed a sale on the Troxus website, so definitely check that out if you want a deal, because regardless of the retail price, the TXC is still a good e-bike for sure. And, you know, like to reiterate that I don't have any like major problems with this bike. I think it's a really fun one to have on the trail. If you do want to spend the full price on it, you're gonna have a good time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing as always. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and let me know if you have any questions about the bike that I can answer. I'll try to get to all of those. Getting an arm massage right there. So thank you, Troxus, for the awesome bike. It's definitely a great one overall. Besides that, remember to keep biking out there, and I'll see you in the next video.